The clock struck midnight, and the rhythmic tapping of rain against the windows of a modest Chicago townhouse created a soothing yet eerie backdrop. Inside, Barack Obama sat alone at his desk, illuminated by the dim glow of a desk lamp. In his hands was a worn envelope, the corners yellowed with age. The words on it were faint, but unmistakable. To Barack, when the time is right. He hadn't opened it in over 30 years. Tonight, something urged him to. His heart raced as he carefully slid a finger under the seal, anticipation mixed with a hint of fear. The contents inside seemed to hold a key to a long-buried truth. Barack's hand trembled as he unfolded the brittle paper. The handwriting was instantly recognizable, his mother's. She had written the letter shortly before her passing, but he had never been able to bring himself to read it, until now. Barack, life will present crossroads where the weight of your choices might feel overwhelming. But never forget, true strength lies not in having all the answers, but in daring to ask the most profound questions. When you doubt yourself most, go back to the roots that ground you and the dreams you've yet to fulfill. With love, Mom. The words stirred something deep within him, a memory he had buried for years, a promise he made but never kept. It was the summer of 1981, and Barack was home from college, walking with his mother through a dusty path near their home in Hawaii. She had a knack for asking the kinds of questions that made him think, really think. That day, she'd paused to gaze at the ocean and said, "Barack, you're meant for something bigger than yourself. Promise me you'll never forget where you come from, even when the world tries to pull you away." Barack had laughed it off then. "Sure, Mom. I'll be president or something." He didn't see the seriousness in her eyes. "I'm not talking about titles," she'd replied. "I'm talking about purpose. Promise me you'll listen when it calls." Back in the present, Barack's chest tightened. He had achieved so much: senator, president, global leader. But had he truly kept that promise? He had dedicated years to serving others, but in doing so, had he silenced parts of himself? His mother's words felt less like a gentle reminder and more like a challenge. As the rain poured outside, Barack's mind wandered to the countless times he had felt torn, between family and duty, between ambition and authenticity. His thoughts wandered to sleepless nights in the Oval Office, pacing back and forth, haunted by the question, were my decisions ever truly enough? The letters seemed to whisper that there was still work to be done, but not the kind found in politics. Barack's fingers hesitated as they brushed against an old notebook in the desk drawer, its pages filled with long-forgotten sketches and aspirations scribbled in the fervor of youthful passion. Among them were plans for a mentorship program aimed at helping underprivileged kids navigate their futures. He had started drafting it during his early days in community organizing, but had set it aside as his political career took off. His mother's letter felt like a nudge from the past, urging him to reconnect with that vision. It wasn't about reclaiming lost time, but about creating something enduring. By dawn, Barack had made up his mind. He would launch the program, dedicating his resources, time, and energy to empowering the next generation. It wasn't about leaving a legacy. It was about living his purpose. As the sun rose over Chicago, Barack felt a peace he hadn't known in years. His mother's words echoed in his mind. When you doubt yourself most, go back to the roots that ground you. For a moment, he closed his eyes and pictured her smile, the warmth of her encouragement, enveloping him like a gentle embrace. The letter was no longer just a relic of the past. It was a bridge to a future he could still shape. Tears welled up, but they were not of sorrow. They were of hope, gratitude, and resolve. As he stepped outside, the rain had stopped, leaving the streets glistening under the first light of dawn. A group of children ran by, their laughter filling the air. Barack watched them, a faint smile on his lips. He knew his next chapter was not about his name in history books, but about the lives he could touch and the dreams he could nurture. "Mom," he whispered softly, looking up at the sky, "I'll make you proud." And as the morning unfolded, so did a renewed sense of purpose, one built not on titles, but on the enduring power of compassion and action. And just like that, Barack Obama had found his way back to the promise he made, a promise not just to his mother, but to himself.